right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the world's most exciting classroom. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. We have left Rapa Nui behind. We are well away now from that beautiful location, and we are sailing in the Pacific on our way to Mangareva. But on the way, we are going to make a little, hopefully, be able to make a little stop in Pitcairn. I think the team is roughly about 100 miles from that island group. Let me bring up the map now. Excuse me. Let's take a quick look at the map and let's see exactly where they are. So this should be up on the screen now. You can see nice blue water around the ship. Let's back up just a little bit so you can see where we came from. Here is Rapa Nui, or Easter Island as it may be known to some, down here. And you can see the journey we've made across the ocean. You can see here is Pitcairn. Hopefully we can make that stop, and then a little farther on and we will make it to Mangareva, so to part of Tahiti. It has been some interesting sailing on the ship. I have a few clips here. I'm going to play one. Oh, no, that's not the video. There it is. Here from that, it is a little bit loud. There's a lot of wind. The sails have been up. I think they've been making some good progress. I think I've got another video here that maybe shows it a little bit better. Let's try. Well, there's a nice video here of all the rigging up. That's a beautiful shot. And then let's try another one here. See if I can find. There we go. Here's one. Probably from last night. Wind whipping through the sails. So let's stop that screen share and let's get on board the Oosterschelde. There we go. We've got, I can see Tom there. I can see Grant there. That looks like Jut coming there as well. How's it going, guys?
Hi. Hello.
All right. Looks like you've got some movement there. You guys are getting some good wind?
Yeah, we're rolling around quite a bit. But if the connection's a little unstable, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want, so last night I heard things got pretty intense. Were any of you on deck last night?
No, we were trying to sleep.
All right. Do you want to show that shot, Jut? Are they still working on the hoops on the sail? Oh, so the ship is moving a lot. The connectivity has been a little patchy today. So we're going to see how well this connection is going to cooperate for us with Jut and Tom and Grant.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, dude.
Hey, Jut, can you hear me?
Hey, yes, I can. So what happened last night? We went into a low pressure system, and winds died. Seas got up to about 3 meters, and they had to drop the sails, and it was pretty exciting up here. But we were trying to sleep down below, and when during all that excitement, 2 of the hoops broke. And Don's up there now, pulling those hoops, and those will need to be repaired. Not sure how well I'm positioning the computer screen because I can't.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So what he's doing is he's pulling the hoops, and he's tying the sail in place with rope. So that's going to be the way that sail will be hoisted until they're able to repair those hoops.
All right. And then Jut, I think over on your right, is that a nice little bunch of bananas you got hanging there?
See, I think we lost you, Joe.
Yeah, I got you back now.
Okay.
I was just saying, looks over on your right. Is that a bunch of plantains or bananas you've got hanging there? All right. This might be a little bit of a challenging connection with the ship today. We'll see how much we're able to do with Jut and Grant and Tom. Oh, there we go. We got you guys back.
All right. I'm going to reposition this.
All right. Well, while we have you, let's get talking quickly. Grant, I know you had to run down and get your binoculars. Are you seeing some good birds on this leg?
We've seen a few. So we started seeing the Henderson petrel yesterday. Those are an endangered type of seabird that only breeds in Henderson Island. Because it is one of the only extant islands with like the native forest left on it of this whole system of like the Southeast Pacific, and so it's super cool to get to see a couple representatives of the species.
All right, very cool, Grant. Tom, we've got you there. Tom, how was your time on Rapa Nui?
Yeah, it's awesome. I first found out about this island when I was a kid, just watching some fiction TV shows, and actually being able to go and see these moai heads in real life was a pretty cool experience. And learning about all the stories and all the anecdotes from the locals is super cool.
All right, I'm gonna play. You send me a few videos. I've got some beautiful drone footage, so I'm gonna queue up one of those videos now, and let's take a look at some of the footage you were able to grab there. I think I'll pick this one. Okay, so this should come up now. So I'm glad we're getting a chance to see this because we did 2 live events from Rapa Nui, one in front of some of those moai down by the water. And then the other one, we had Jut with his team. They were down exploring inside of a cave. But I really love this drone video because it gives us a real feel for the island that we weren't able to get from those 2 live events that we did do from the island. So this is a nice way to see a little bit of that island. Tom, were you the one shooting this video?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I managed to get some lovely lights, so I was very happy with them.
Yeah, you got the golden hour. This light's incredible. Very cool. All right. And then Jut, we've got you hanging out there with us as well. Jut, how's your time on the ship?
Excellent. Excellent. It's going really well. We started our pre-surveys, let's see, about 3 days ago. And what we're doing is, as per the opposite of the last video, we like this idea that the ancient Polynesians had sex with canoe planes throughout Polynesia, but we also have to ferret out other possibilities. 2 of those are, is, could these animals have been dispersed via vegetation? There's a storm event. A tree gets cast into the water, becomes aloft, and floats into the reaches of the island. So what we've been doing to investigate this aspect is we've been scanning the ocean. And we do this, we actually put together this really nice de facto citizen science campaign. The guests on the ship have willingly, the captain is kind enough to permit them to do this as part of their watch. And what they do is they spend an hour scanning the ocean and looking for anything that is not supposed to be there.
All right. Well, we'll try and spend another minute or 2 with them on the Oosterschelde. Hopefully we can get in 1 or 2 more questions. I've got a little bit more footage that I can play as well. But then we might have to say goodbye to the ship. We've got lots more planned for today. We've got experiments. We've got our curiosity of the week. I've got a great video Stew McPherson made for us highlighting Pitcairn. So depending on our time, we'll either explore the culture, the history of Pitcairn, or we'll focus more on the wildlife. It'll just depend on our timing as the event continues. But we'll give another minute or so and see if we can get them back with us. The other thing is our maritime unit, which we usually use, the cable is broken. So getting a new cable out in the middle of the ocean is not easy. Hopefully there'll be one waiting for us in Mangareva. So we're actually using the land unit as a maritime unit. So it doesn't work quite as well as the maritime unit, but I think we've got them back. All right. Perfect.
So yeah, what I'm saying is that because what we need to do is we need to find other possibilities for these bugs being dispersed throughout Polynesia. So we're scanning the ocean. As I mentioned, we have folks aboard that are willing to help. So far, we found really nothing by way of vegetation, unfortunately, but we have seen fishing debris. We've observed 4 buoys so far, 2 of which were about 50 meters apart, suggesting that they might be. So we've been documenting that, and the plan will be is to upload all that information to the debris tracker page, so they can. I was in correspondence with them by email a couple of days ago, and we're going to be using their app to do this. As I mentioned, we're trying to various possibilities for these bugs being dispersed. The other is being part of what we call the aerial plankton. And I don't know if you all can see up there or not. Just if I start to lose my balance, you can see that there are 4 pieces of cardboard up there. You can't see the other side. They're actually clipboards.
Yeah.
And on the other side of those are sticky traps. And what we're doing is we're sampling the aerial plankton. We're seeing what we can capture within the aerial plankton, if at all. My hypothesis is that we're not going to get much of anything between Rapa Nui and Pitcairn. However, I do expect that we're going to catch something when we're traveling between Pitcairn and Mangareva. The plan will be to pull these traps before we reach Pitcairn, switch them out with fresh sticky traps, and put them back up there and have them run until we get
All right. And Jut, you took a lot of samples from the caves and the cliffs of Rapa Nui. You got them all squared away okay?
Yes, they're all squared away okay. I've been processing them, and hey, I sent you guys a report. So that was very productive in that regard. I haven't had a chance to analyze them or look at them any further. I'm kind of pulling ship that's challenging, so I haven't done that yet. It's probably unlikely that I'll do so, but it's really neat. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast or not, but we do have the additional specimens from the new species of cricket, which is really exciting. It's a ring cricket. It's a Pterodactyl species. It isn't new. We do believe quite assuredly that it is an endemic to Rapa Nui, and we're going to be describing that species. And I've discussed this with Stuart and Joe as well. The plan will be is we're going to be reaching out to a buddy of mine on Rapa Nui. We're going to make this a campaign for the kids of Rapa Nui to come up with Rapa Nui names for this new species of cricket. And they're going to come up with a few options. We might have 5 to select from. And then we're going to open it up to the global community. So you all will then be able to vote on the one that you all like best. And we're going to have a big unveiling of this once the paper is published. And so it'll not only involve the Rapa Nui community at a micro scale, but will also involve the entire planet globally, so that kids around the world will be able to weigh in and pick their favorite name.
All right, Jut, that sounds really cool. I'm glad everything has gone so well on Rapa Nui, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish on Mangareva. The signal still a little bit rough and windy, but I want to try and get one more question to Grant and one more to Tom. So Grant, you saw the Henderson petrel. Is there anything else on your list you're hoping you see in Pitcairn?
So, unfortunately, in Pitcairn, we've lost most of the native land birds that are found there. But I expected to see quite a few more seabirds. So I think we can start to see some new species of terns. Hopefully, some of our first white naughties, which are like the fairy terns. They're super cool. So I don't know what we'll see. We just Judd is being over right now. I think actually there might be a Henderson petrel just flying right by us right now. which is cool because there's only around 100 observations of this species on the database that we use. And so, you know, we've now seen like 5% of all of the observations.
All right. And then Tom, do you know yet what project you'll be working on at Mangareva?
I think we're working with Jet on his canoe bug project, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can find any evidence of canoe bugs on Mangareva. So it's exciting.
I'd like to add, so for Mangareva, I'm starting a project working with the land birds there. So Mangareva used to have around 6 to 8 species of endemic. There hasn't been any sight that have not really been well searched on Mangareva. So I'm hoping to scour these forests and see if maybe we could see some of these land birds that otherwise haven't.
So we'll be also filming that.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
All right. That sounds awesome, Grant. I will talk to you as the week goes on because I want to figure out how we can get the satellite unit out with you or Jut or hopefully both of you to do something from the field. That would be awesome.
Absolutely. We can coordinate.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us today. I know it hasn't been easy with the wind and the connectivity, but it's been great to catch up. It looks like you're doing well, and I hope you catch a glimpse of Henderson today.
We hope so too. I think until 6 meters above the water, but I think we're gonna hit that before anything else.
All right. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks so much for connecting today. I know it wasn't easy. All right, I think we might have lost them right at the end.
Let's see.
Oh, there you go. You're moving again. I was just saying thanks, guys, for connecting today. I appreciate it.
Joe, your screen name from now on is Frojo.
All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for connecting.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
All right. See you guys. All right. Well, sometimes the connectivity isn't always perfect. And so a few things working against us today. The water is a little bit rough. And like I said, we're using the land unit instead of the maritime unit because we're trying to get some new cords for the maritime unit. But it was still nice to connect with Tom and Jut and Grant and catch up on what they were doing. In fact, let me play a little something else for us here to remind us of some of the beautiful views that they did have when they were on Rapa Nui. So Tom mentioned the moai, which are absolutely incredible. So he also shot this really cool video highlighting some of the moai on the island. So let's play this now. So one of our curiosities of the week is we challenge students to think about how they were able to move these statues, sometimes 9-10 meters tall, weighing up to 80 tons. And so we had someone from the community, when we answered the curiosity, give us some idea. So they talked about maybe it was rollers. So, big trunks of trees. And then as you roll it forward, you move the trunks in behind, up in front. So that was one thought. Another was walking the statues, that they could actually have them standing up, and through a series of structures, they could actually kind of make the statues almost kind of walk slowly across the land. And then a third one that they talked about was building kind of a wooden frame and using that to kind of hoist and move the statues. And it would have been either way, if it was one of those three ways that they did it, it would not have been easy moving across that rough terrain, sometimes several kilometers from the quarry to the edge of the ocean where they were putting those moai. So some beautiful shots there from Tom, and it was really nice to see that drone video to get a look at the island and see what it looked like. So I'm going to do things in a bit of a different order today because we can do that. So We did an experiment on herbs 2 weeks ago, growing your own herbs. Unfortunately, the herbs did not survive. So we're going to redo the results video for that, and we'll have that shortly. But when I was in the Galapagos and we were sailing on the Oosterschelde to Bartolome, we did an experiment making your own bird feeder. And then we were away for too long to get a good film. We finally have the results film for making your own bird feeder. So I'm going to play that results film right now. So here we go.
Welcome back, everyone. How did you get on making your very own bird feeder? Well, I'm very happy to report that my one was very popular in my garden. Here's some shots of it. The most common species of bird that visited the bird feeder in my garden was this beautiful juvenile blue tit. There were quite a few of them that came over a few days. Look how hungry he is, pecking away. He really likes those seeds. Other species of birds did visit, but it wasn't just birds that are attracted to this bird feeder. This cheeky squirrel really liked it too. I could only get a shot of him. He was really hungry and I think ate quite a lot of the seeds. It was really great fun watching all the birds come to the bird feeder, and hopefully they had a good meal that'll help them get through the summer. Which species of birds came to the bird feeder in your garden? Quite a few of you sent in photos. So now let's go back to Joe and see some of the species that were attracted to the feeders that you made. Well done, and thank you very much for taking part.
All right. So that experiment was, I believe it was episode 36 when we were still in the Galapagos. We are on episode 42 today. So it took us a while to get those results because everybody was away from the feeder for so long while they were in the Galapagos and then Rapa Nui. But as you can see, Stew's feeder was very successful. He got some different bird species, even had that squirrel come and visit his feeder. So very cool. I'm glad that worked out. And hopefully by next week, we'll have the results for the herbs experiment that we did 2 weeks ago. Stew was back in the UK for a little bit, and we managed to get some more experiments filmed. We have an awesome experiment on bioluminescence for this week. So I'm going to load that experiment up now, and we will take a look at the experiment.
Welcome back, everyone. Many organisms in the natural world produce light and glow. This is called bioluminescence. In this week's experiment, we're going to look at how and why different animals produce bioluminescence and what purpose it serves. Examples of bioluminescence occur in many different parts of the natural world, from deep-sea fish in the depths of the ocean to fireflies and glowworms on land, and even fungi that eerily glow this yellowish green colour at night. But have you ever wondered how and why these different organisms produce light? Well, we're going to find out. In most cases, within the organism's tissues, two chemicals combine to create a reaction that emits light. We can replicate that reaction and see what happens. But first, we have to turn down the light. Let's see what happens when we combine these two liquids. Wow, look at it glow. This is called chemiluminescence. Chemiluminescent reactions give off light, but generally no heat. So this flask is completely cool, despite this amazing glowing reaction. Your task in this activity is to guess why bioluminescent organisms use bioluminescence. What's the purpose of emitting this eerie light? Send in your answers to classroom@darwin200.com for a chance to win £50 Amazon gift voucher prizes. Good luck, and thank you for taking part in this bioluminescence experiment.
All right. Very, very cool. Bioluminescence. So your challenge for the next 2 weeks is to send in your answers for why do you think animals in the ocean use bioluminescence? What do you think they're using it for? How are they using it? So we want some of those answers to classroom@darwin200.com. We'll take a look at what comes in over the next 2 weeks, and then we will talk about it in episode 44. If we're on 42 today, we'll talk about it in episode 44. So classroom@darwin200.com. And then the bioluminescence that we've witnessed on the ship has been amazing. So I'm going to share a little clip here. It's really hard to catch with camera. So it doesn't quite do it justice, but I want to share a little video clip with you. And I'm going to tell you a little story from when I was on. But here's a little clip sailing at night. And you can see a little bit of that bioluminescence in the waves. All right, so you got to see a little bit of that bioluminescence in the waves as we disturbed that zooplankton in the water, and it responded with those flashes. And then, while I share a little bit about Pitcairn, I'm going to look behind the scenes on my computer as well, because we had another really great experience I'll tell you a little bit about when we were sailing between Peru and Ecuador, so from Lima to Salinas. We had one night where the bioluminescence was phenomenal. So it was thrown up in a big bow wave, and the wave was glowing in this turquoise, beautiful blue-green color. But then it got even better because a pod of dolphins, it was totally dark. We would have never known the dolphins were there, except they were swimming in that bioluminescent wave. So the dolphins were outlined in this incredible blue-green glowing. I think we watched them for well over an hour. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, to watch these dolphins in the darkness playing in the bioluminescent wave. So while the next video is playing, I'm going to try and see if I can find, there's a tiny little clip of it we were able to shoot. Again, it doesn't do it justice, but it still gives you kind of a little peek of what that might have looked like. So we are heading now to the Pitcairn Island group, and I believe that's made up of 4 islands. Henderson is an amazing spot. We're not going to stop there, but it is a spot where you can still find some endemic species that has been mostly left alone. And then Pitcairn is where, if the weather cooperates, if the seas are calm enough, we'll be able to land on Pitcairn for a day. And then while we're there, Jutt will be able to get out into the field and hopefully collect some specimens as well. So one thing he's really trying to look at as we go from Rapa Nui to Pitcairn to Mangareva is the canoe bug theory. So it might have been hard to hear him talking with the wind a few moments ago, but basically the one part of the theory thinks that these bugs, these invertebrates, got moved from island to island by the Polynesians as they were exploring the islands. So there'd be plants they bring along with them, and dirt in the roots of those plants would have contained invertebrates, and they would have spread them from island to island. So that's one thing Jutt is looking at by collecting the samples. But then it's also possible that maybe they were spreading naturally. Big storms knocking a bunch of vegetation in the water, and then those invertebrates could drift over to another island and then colonize that way. Similar to the Galapagos, how the tortoises and the marine, or the iguanas, the snakes would have drifted on these vegetation mats from the mainland. So very interesting to see what Jut's results are going to be with all the specimens he's collected, what that's going to look like in the end. All right. So let me talk to you a bit about Pitcairn. We are going to play a video Stew McPherson made years ago when he visited Pitcairn. And this video today is going to focus more on the history, the culture, so the people who are living on Pitcairn and what they're doing right now, how they're making a living, what life on the island is like. I believe there's only about 40 to 50 people living on the island, descendants of the HMS Bounty. So there was a mutiny on the ship, and members of the crew took the ship to Pitcairn and kind of set up shop there. And yeah, it's a pretty unique ecosystem. Obviously, the impact of humans have brought invasive species. A lot of the endemic species have been lost. And you can imagine living in a place like Pitcairn would not be easy. So let's take a look at this video and let's learn a little bit more about Pitcairn, and let's learn a little bit more about the people who do call Pitcairn home.
The UK overseas territory of Pitcairn Island is a remote speck of land lost in the vastness of the Pacific. There are only about 50 Pitcairn Islanders, descended from the mutineers who commandeered the HMS Bounty in 1789, along with a selection of Polynesians they brought with them from Tahiti. The islanders have evolved their own unique traditions and customs. Not many ships call in here, and when one does, bells ring out across the island to let the islanders know they have visitors. The islanders are also skilled craftsmen and women. I'm on my way to find Reynold and Nola Warren to see their creations. Reynold is a wood carver and knows how to make the best use of all the local trees. Wow, that's a nice canoe.
This is mango tree and burro wood.
Some of his work is simply practical.
Bring on my firewood.
And this is the traditional
It's water, yeah,
traditional design, the Pitcairn design.
yeah. Henderson and I rubber some on top of there from.
But smaller carvings, like the iconic HMS Bounty, are for sale to tourists and collectors, and are a vital part of the island's economy. The preferred wood for these comes from Henderson Island, some 200 kilometers distant. And Reynold's preferred carving tools are knife and axe. It's extraordinary that such crude tools can produce such exquisite carvings.
Watch out!
And you taught yourself, you learnt yourself how to do this.
Oh, from my grandfather, yeah.
Your Fisher's Island descendant, honey. Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. That's her.
Oh,
Come right in.
thank you so much. Thanks. Nola is always ready for visitors.
Would you like a drink? That's the tea. I don't know who's gonna.
Lovely.
Yeah, sit over there on that side. Yeah.
Okay.
Just help yourself.
Oh, thank you very much.
Just help yourself. Have you tried a guava?
Show me
Then don't want him molasses.
You like to taste the molasses?
Well, if that's all right, if that's okay.
Yeah. You can taste them, but I don't think they go really well with sweet things.
Oh, okay. Nola herself is a basket maker. Traditional designs woven from palm leaves.
Someone else still makes them on the island.
Really? That's fantastic.
Yeah, they used them like they were stored on shelf in the kitchen.
How did you learn this?
I think I had to learn them when I'm young, growing up. My grandmother taught me. Actually, in those days, it's a traditional thing that you had to learn how to make them. Yeah, whether you like or you don't. Yeah,
beautiful.
You think they are?
Oh, I think they're lovely,
Lovely.
baskets. Absolutely beautiful.
That little nut on.
Wow. Growing back out.
The beautiful colours as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Carrie knew how to make these. I think Carrie knew how to make them from coconuts. You can't marry unless you learn. If you don't know how to make it, you shouldn't get married.
Really?
It's a saying on Pitcairn Island. That's the coconut prawns. Yeah.
Beautiful.
We never make them for sale.
You don't?
I don't think they would buy them.
Oh, I'd buy one.
You would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look great.
Do you want one?
I'd love one.
Well, I'll make you one before you leave. I've got an ear up there. Round's got an ear to make.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll pop back and
Yeah.
borrow off you.
Pitcairn Island might seem remote to us, but not to Polynesians, who thought nothing of crossing vast distances in ocean-going canoes.
The island had been discovered long before the Bounty mutineers ever got here, and the evidence for that is just over here. These strange markings are evidence of Polynesians here, but as of yet no one's been able to decipher them, and we have no idea what they mean.
The painters of these symbols disappeared long before the Bounty mutineers arrived, and today's islanders still puzzle over their meaning.
This character here is always intriguing.
Yeah.
You know, what does it really
Yeah.
mean?
Even so, Merelda Warren uses these symbols in her work. She paints with traditional materials on tapa, paper made from the bark of trees.
This one's a pretty good piece.
Tapa
This one
is
here.
a traditional form of Polynesian art, widespread across the Pacific in places like Fiji and Samoa. But it died out on Pitcairn in the middle of the 20th century. Now Merelda has worked out the process and has revived the art form.
It went from me trying to use different techniques in the Samoan culture, the Fijian culture, until I actually have found my own.
Really?
Yes,
That's amazing.
I found my own.
And why did they stop tapa? Why did it stop?
Well, there was a good chant to go with the tapa, and unfortunately we don't know the chant anymore. It's the era when the missionaries were coming through, and some of them felt it was a bit unchristian, and so it, you know, the art of making tapa, the art of dancing, all of that was lost.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's going to come off.
That's incredible.
You want to have a go?
Sure.
Yeah.
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 So just hold on.
On the, yeah,
Just like that?
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Soft.
Yeah. It's a bit woofy, it's a bit smelly. Ooh. And
The bark then has to be
it's starting
soaked.
to break down. And I have several pieces in here.
Then it has to be flattened out before being soaked some more.
Flipped it and I'm doing the outside, and it's starting to spread just a little bit. Okay? Right. Now it goes back for another soak.
Okay.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is cook up some black dye using the Dudwi nut.
The pigments for painting are also made from local
Load
plants.
it into the... They're all right to eat, but if you eat too much, it's a laxative and it'll clean you up.
Really?
Yeah. Now I just collect the smoke by just brushing it out using a palm nut.
Yeah.
brushing it out and just mixing that with a little bit of bark dye.
Wow.
And we have this beautiful
Pure black.
Pure black. That,
And the results capture the enigmatic symbols painted on the cliffs just a short distance away.
you can just mount it
Yeah, yeah.
up there.
Pitcairn also has its own language, which again can be traced back to the islanders' unusual origins.
So, where does Pitcairn, the language, come from?
It came from the women of the Bounty and the English men, and they can't speak the language of each other fluently, and so with them teaching the children of the Bounty, that's where the language originated from. The combination of both Polynesian and English together.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We were not allowed to speak Pitcairn when we were little growing up,
Really?
especially in schools and church and stuff like that. And now they employ people like me to try and teach Pitcairn to the kids.
Do the kids like learning it, or are they engaging?
Yeah. They're struggling sometimes because one of their parents is English speaking, or
Right.
yeah.
That's so cool. And would you mind speaking a little bit of Pitcairn to each other?
Mum, you asked me something. Well, if you can keep talking on for Auckland, you can make us all get a whatu head.
What does that mean?
Uh,
Or dare I ask?
I can't book crawling in your head.
Oh, really?
if you keep talking for us for a long time,
Yep.
we'll get tired in the head.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to be so whatu.
Okay.
Tired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Living in such a remote part of the world has its advantages, particularly for the younger generation.
Yeah.
When he went out,
Yeah.
he just,
So what's it like as a mother on Pitcairn?
well, I think it's wonderful for the kids because they get so many opportunities that the kids outside don't have. And, you know, you can go out and play until it's dark and then mum calls you in and you have dinner and then you can go outside and play. It's a lot of freedom for the kids.
That's a wonderful life for the kids growing up.
She doesn't quite grasp the concept of outside. You ask her a question about New Zealand, what would you like to see there? She just wouldn't get the amount of cars and the amount of people or how big the city is.
Emily, how do you view a city?
What do you think a city's got?
Lots and lots of people.
How many people do you think?
I believe 200.
Do you know the capital city of England? Capital city is London. And the whole big city, guess how many people are in the whole city? How many are in London?
100?
Nope.
200?
I think it's 11 million.
That's a lot of people.
That'll be crowded.
Yeah, it would be crowded.
How do you feel about going to a place where you don't know everyone?
Would it be scary?
Shy.
Would you be shy? Because here you know everyone, of course, but
But when I get used to them, I'm like,
it's so interesting that you've grown up in the maximum distance you've travelled from here is basically the distance of the island, which is what, 2 kilometres away, approximately. So there's a big world out there to see. Would you like to go and explore it? Great. I really hope you do one day.
Pitcairn truly is an extraordinary place with a unique culture, but a welcoming one. In my brief stay, I've been invited into the homes of many of the islanders and made to feel like part of the family.
Oh, did you pull the seats out?
A family that began when Fletcher Christian and his fellow mutineers landed the Bounty on Pitcairn and called this place home.
All right. I love that video from Stew. It is a real nice peek at what life is like on Pitcairn, on a little remote island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like I said, I think there's somewhere around 40 people living on that island, and it was Really interesting to hear that little girl's perspective on a big city, where she figured a big city is maybe 100 to 200 people. Pretty incredible. So next week, we'll have a few little clips to share. We'll have a clip from Jut and Diego, who are working in the field in Rapa Nui. They've put together a beautiful video for us. And then we'll also have a clip looking at Henderson Island and Pitcairn, the wildlife that you can find on those islands. So Henderson's a bit more well-preserved, whereas Pitcairn has been impacted by invasive species. And in many cases, the endemic life has been lost. So while that video was playing, I went behind the scenes and I found the clip that I wanted to share with you that looks at the dolphins playing in the bow wave. So it's not the best quality because it's really hard to capture that kind of light, but it'll give you just kind of a little glimpse at what we were seeing when those dolphins were playing in that bioluminescence. So here goes. Let's hope that works. So you can see those shapes whipping through the bioluminescence. Yeah, we would never have known those dolphins were there if the bioluminescence, those bioluminescent dinoflagellates weren't reacting to the dolphins and the bow wave moving through them. So the last thing we have to do is talk about our curiosity. I've got a brand new curiosity of the week from the Darwin studio, and I have to talk about last week's curiosity. And to do that, I have a few tools here with me. So many of our last curiosities were nature related, so I thought I would mix in a piece of technology for last week's, a piece of technology that I use in the field, especially when I'm out doing photography. So these two pieces were our curiosities, and I think they were definitely tricky ones because we had a few responses from classrooms, but they weren't correct. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what these two pieces of equipment do for me. So this helps me go out at night and shoot things in the dark, photograph things like frogs and bugs and snakes and lizards in the dark. And the way they do that is I will show you here. So this is one of my camera bodies for my Nikon D500. And then up at the top, there's something called a shoe where you can put the flash. But instead of putting the flash, I'm going to put one of these up here. So this is a transmitter. So I put that on to the camera and then turn the camera on. And then I make sure that I turn this switch on to camera to say that this transmitter is on the camera. And did it light up for me? I think it did. There we go. Okay. So that one like that. And then I have my flash like this. Usually it's on top of the camera, but instead of putting it on the camera, I'm going to put another transmitter on it. Like that, and tighten it onto the bottom, and then I will make sure this is turned on to flash, and it is, so I'm happy about that. And then another piece I use at night is this called the diffuser. So this helps spread the flash out a little bit and makes it not too bright in one spot, so it goes over the top of my flash. And then I just pull this around to secure it. Now, why would I want to be able to use my flash away from my camera? Well, if I take the flash off of my camera, I can put it in different spots around what I'm trying to photograph and get different light effects, lighting from above, lighting from below, lighting from the side. And so that allows me to take different pictures than if I just had the flash on top and I was just shooting directly at the snake or the frog, so I can have those apart. And just to show you how it works, if I turn my flash on, so I have my flash here in my hand, I've got my camera here, and if I push the button on my camera, you'll see that the flash goes off. You can see the way it doesn't quite show up on the call, but it makes the screen blink. There you go. When I do that. So this is super useful. These two transmitters allow me to separate the flash from my camera, go out into the rainforest at night, and then shoot really interesting pictures from different angles, different perspectives. And I have a few pictures here queued up that I want to show you what that looks like, what kind of pictures you can get when you use the flash that way. So let me pick the window and I'll share a few photos with you. So that should be up there for you now. Perfect. So yeah, this is a beautiful green viper. This is in Monteverde, in the cloud forest of Costa Rica. So you can see this beautiful green viper was making its way through the forest. It had just stopped raining. And so it had this drop of water here coming off of its neck. And you can see, yeah, the work that the flash does to illuminate. Here's another one here. This is a glass frog. Again, this is the same forest. This is in Monteverde. And they get that name because you can see right through their bodies. And you can see their intestines, their muscles, and things like that. So this is a glass frog in that same cloud forest. Now, this is in the Amazon rainforest in Peru. And you can see the way you can use the flash to just take the background right out. And you've got this beautiful tree frog here up on a branch, and then just the darkness in behind, but the tree frog is nicely illuminated. This is a false viper. This is again in Peru in the Amazon rainforest. And so it's not a venomous snake, but its head is very similar to that of a viper. So it's kind of a decoy, a way to look more dangerous than it is. So predators will hopefully stay away thinking it's a viper. Some beautifully camouflaged frogs here. Again, this is in Peru in the Amazon. And then this, I love this. This is an Amazon tree boa. And so I held the flash quite a bit away from this one so that I could kind of illuminate its whole body and really get a nice look at the colors of this snake. And then some insects. So there's definitely insects out that come out there at night. So you can get these images. You can illuminate them with the flash. And lastly, we've got this red-eye tree frog in Costa Rica. This is in the Osa Peninsula in Costa Rica, where the Pacific Ocean meets the rainforest in Costa Rica. All right, I'm going to come back from that screen share. So that was our curiosity from last week. They are transmitters. And so one on the camera, one on the flash, and then it allows me to use the flash remotely and get different angles, get the light in different ways. All right. I have a question here in the chat. Do the animals get scared of the flash? For the most part, it doesn't seem to bother them because I think at night they really think that their camouflage is working. They don't want to be seen. So it's better for them just to hold still and not react to the flash. And when you're out photographing, you never do it for long. You try to set up your camera settings so your camera's ready and take as few pictures as you can because you don't want to disturb them for too long. So take a couple pictures, hope, one to get your settings right, take a couple pictures, and then move on through the rainforest. There's no shortage of animals to find at night. So yeah, very cool. Good question. So last thing we have to do is a curiosity for this week. I'm going to share a video that Stu sent in from the Darwin studio in Poole. And
welcome back, everyone. This week's curiosity is this beautiful and intricate object. What do you think this may be? Can you identify it? It's wafer thin, very, very thin, much thinner than a seashell, and it spirals around in this incredible pattern. Can you guess what this might be? Send in your best answers to classroom@darwin200.com for a chance to win a £50 Amazon gift voucher prize. Next week, you'll find out the identity of this amazing, intricate natural history curiosity. Good luck, and thank you for taking part.
All right, so 1 week to have a think about that curiosity. You can go back to either the Darwin200 or Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants YouTube pages, and you can find the event, and you can look at the curiosity again. If you want to have another think about it, give it a go, try to figure out what it is. If you email in the next week, classroom@darwin200.com with your best answers, your best guesses to what you think that object was that Stu had in the Darwin studio in Poole in the UK. So 1 week for the curiosity, 2 weeks for the experiment, the bioluminescence, why do you think that the animals in the ocean, many of them, use bioluminescence? How do you think they use it? Why do you think they're using it? What are they using it for? So there could be multiple reasons an animal is using bioluminescence, and it could depend on what the animal is. If it's a predator, if it's prey. So have a think about that over the next couple of weeks. Classroom at DARWIN200.com. As we always sign off, we give a big shout out to our sponsors, to our supporters, without whom we wouldn't be sailing around the world. We wouldn't be broadcasting the world's most exciting classroom. And we wouldn't, we just wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now. The researchers coming on board, the young Darwin leaders, it's pretty amazing. All right. So before I do that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Next week, we will be live on Mangareva, so do join us for that. But for now, we'll sign off with a thank you to our sponsors and our supporters.